Hello and welcome to a new episode of Coptic Las. In today's lecture, we're going to start quarter 3 and we're going to start with an introduction to what we call multi-pronunciation consonants. So far what we have learned were all the consonants that only had one sound, more or less. And now we're going to talk about some consonants that specifically have multiple pronunciations. This could be 2 or 3 different pronunciations for the letter. And so we're going to cover 2 of those letters today. First is beta and second is delta. And with that, let's go to the classroom and start the lecture. So far what we covered all the vowels of the Coptic language. Then we discussed all the different consonants that have one sound only. So for example, we talked about zeta, for example, makes a Z sound, or xe make an X sound. They were all just one pronunciation. Except for tav and sima, which is still one pronunciation, but for Greeks they're different. So far what we've been covering is just vowels and single pronunciation consonant. Today we're going to talk about some consonant in the Coptic language that not only have one pronunciation, but they can have 2 or even 3, sometimes, depending. And so to demonstrate this concept, you might say like, this is so hard, how would I know when is the letter is that or when is it that? Well, believe it or not, English has the same issue. But you just get used to it because you've learned English for a long time. So with that, I'm going to give you an example with the word G. Like the letter G, okay? Any word that has G on it. So I divided them into 3 columns, words with G on them. And we're going to take each column and then we're going to start pronouncing the English word and then you'll notice a certain pattern. So what is the first one up here? Ginger. Ginger, right? So this first G makes a J sound, correct? And this other G makes a J sound. We all agree, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the next one?
Religion.
Region. Again, same idea. Make a J sound. Okay, how about this?
Angel.
Yep. Another J sound. How about this?
Gymnasium.
Okay, another J sound. How about this?
Hydrogen.
Finally, this word?
Gentle.
Okay, they all made a J sound. Correct? Okay, let's see if we notice something. What's after G here?
I.
How about here?
E.
How about here?
E.
I, right? Haha, I tricked you. Okay, how about here?
E.
How about here?
Y.
How about here?
Y. E. O.
Right? How about here?
E.
So,
Y after the H.
I don't care. We're talking about the G, right? What's after the G?
Wait.
Okay? So, G, if it has an I, E, or Y, it makes a J sound. Believe it or not.
Really? So that's an actual rule?
Yep.
In English?
In English.
Yes.
Yes.
No one taught me that. English teachers are terrible.
Okay? G makes a J sound if it has an I, E, or Y after it. So this is why, like, when I tell you Coptic has certain words when something, that's like the same with any language.
Because you just don't teach us that.
Yes.
Because you just learn it.
Yes, you just learn it, and so that's why Coptic is the same idea. When you're learning the origin of the language, you have to learn all, because this is like a dead language that we're not using as often as before. So it got extinct, so now you have to learn all those. Like if English got extinct, whenever we teach English again, you'll have to tell people, hey, if G is followed by I, E, or Y, it makes a J sound. But if you talk about it regular, you just get, and whenever you see a word, you didn't even think about it, right? You just pronounce it as J, but you never thought about what's behind it. So let's try this group here. How about this? Angle, right? This is angel, right? But see here, this is angle, right? Why? There is no E after it, so it made a G sound. How about this? Game, G. How about this?
Green.
G. How about this?
Grass.
Another G.
Oh, that's a G. That's a J.
Yeah, right? Because it's not I, E, or Y after it. How about this? This is like a combination. What is this one?
Garage.
This is a G and this is a J. This first one is G because there is no I, E, or Y after it. How about this one?
E.
Ha! How about this? Gadget.
G. J. How about George? Yeah.
Yeah, because the E after it, right?
Yeah.
Let's try it.
Smart. George. Yeah.
You don't say Gorg.
People call him Borg.
Yeah, because at the time I have to go
Gorge.
Yeah. Gorge doesn't even make sense because but if you switch the O, it will be Gorge. Like if it's G-O-E-R-G-E, then you would pronounce it Gorge, right? Because the first G would have an O after it, the second G would have an E, so it will be Gorge.
I noticed that. 9 years of my school life and I never was taught.
Okay? So, yeah, Coptic is no different. This is why, this is how, like, you know, you're learning a real language. What I'm teaching you is real language. Okay? This is the whole introduction for the multi-pronunciation. Now, we're going to stop talking about English and we're going to switch to Coptic because this is what we care about. So now we're going to start talking about Coptic, and the first multi-pronunciation Coptic letter we're going to learn is beta. And it makes either a B or a V sound. So just like English, now we need to know when is it a B, when is it a V, correct? So in order to do this, we have to remind ourselves of the vowels. Because remember what I told you if you watched the previous video, vowels are so important. So you have to know all your vowels. Who wants to say to me the vowels with the mnemonic we learned?
Woe and hive.
Yes, so hive is what first?
Eta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Epsilon. And A. Or E.
Okay, and then the wo?
Omega. Omicron. And Alpha.
And then we have one more one, which is...
Oh, Epsilon.
Okay, so that's all your vowels, right? So this is going to be important, as we'll know in a minute. So when you do this, you always have to ask yourself two questions. First, is the word a proper noun? Is it the name of a person? After you've determined that it's not a name of a person, then you need to ask yourself, is it followed by one of the vowels? Remember the vowels, the hive and wo, and then the omicron and epsilon? Or is it followed by no vowel or nothing? Okay? So we're going to start with the non-proper noun section. So this first one, this is not a proper noun. And so the beta has, or vita has an alpha after it. So this would make this a V. And then alpha, we've learned it at the beginning as one of the vowels as A. And then lol, of course, we learned as one of the one sound consonants that always an L. Right? This will put the word together as val. And val means I. Okay? So that's val. I. Now let's try this next one. Here, first the staff. What does staff make?
T.
T sound, correct. This is not the T, this is the T. Yep. And then the eta is one of the vowels. What does it make?
EE.
EE, correct.
And
Good. And then, now this vita, there is a vowel before it, but do we care if there is a vowel before it?
No, it's what follows.
It's only after, right? It's only if it's followed by. So we don't care what
it's
comes
a
before. So look, after it, there is nothing. So this would be
Okay.
a B. This would make this T.
T.
And T means finger. Here you go, so you learn two body parts, finger and eye.
Wait.
Okay? Remind ourselves again. Beta makes a B or V sound. If it's not a proper noun, you check after it. Is it a vowel?
So if it's a proper
Makes a
noun, it
V.
changes things?
Yes, we're going to talk about this in a minute. And then if there is no vowel after it, becomes T. So we covered the non-proper noun stuff. Is everyone clear on the rule? Okay. Now let's switch to proper noun. With proper noun, it gets crazy. Because proper noun, you always assume it's a B unless there is an exception. Proper noun, always assume a B.
Okay.
Unless there is an exception. What is the exception? Unwritten rule. If you wanna, okay, so Coptic doesn't have a V sound in names. So if you have a person name that has a V sound on it, and you want to write it in Coptic, you would use the beta as a V.
Also, like Bubbly, I would write a...
Bavli, I'm not sure, because sometimes if like there is alpha and then you can put the epsilon after it and then it will make an AV sound.
Veronica.
Yeah.
Bubbly. We can say that we use...
But for example, Veronica, right? Veronica is V and then E, so there is nothing in Coptic, you cannot put the epsilon. So you want to put Veronica and there is no V in Coptic, you would put beta as a V in proper noun. So there is no rules for proper noun. For proper noun, it's what you know the name to be. And here is some example. Let's look at this first one. So alpha is what? Abraham, remember? And this is beta. No one says Abraham.
Yeah.
It's Abraham, right? Granted, there is no vowel after it, but you will see that this is not always the
Sometimes
rule.
we just know.
Yes.
And then A-A.
And then this is N. Abraham, correct? Now let's try this one. You might tell me
Virina.
Virina, right? But then you'll say like, oh, but there is a vowel after it. So let's see if this is actually the case or
I
not.
almost said Marina.
So that's V, right? And then, like I said, there's no rule for it. Then this iota is before it a vowel.
No.
How about after it?
Is it? Yeah.
Yes. No, it's not.
No, yes, there is.
No.
There is.
No.
Yeah,
Ru is not a vowel.
Yeah. So it just says an I.
So it stays an I. Good job.
Oh, I know you're talking about... Oh, if there's a vowel after it's a Y?
So this is
Before or
iota.
after it?
We're talking about the iota. Before or after.
If there's a vowel after...
We're not talking about the beta. Beta, I said it's like depends. It's just like in proper nouns, it's just like we're just reminding ourselves of the iota rule.
Iota would be Y if it had a vowel.
Before it or after it.
Procedure.
So in this case, it's not, so it's an I. And then Ru always is one of the one consonant, okay? And then EE.
And
Ni is one of the one single pronunciation consonant, and then A. So Virina, right? Remember this I, the I in Coptic makes like kind of like an E sound, like Virina, right? Good, okay. Now, let's try this one. You might think, okay, let's follow Let's follow the proper noun, the non-proper noun rules and say, oh, beta has an alpha after it. So it should be Bacillus. Nope, it's still Bacillus.
But I thought it was Bacillus.
Another mistake that everyone does. Sima is always an S. I say this in the video a lot.
So
If you watch the video,
the only reason it's a B because we know it to be. We know the name.
yes, it's proper noun. Proper noun is crazy. There's no rules for it.
Wait,
Okay?
oh.
So this is alpha. So even though there is an alpha, this is stayed as a B because it's proper noun.
S.
Sima is always an S.
Wait, so it's proper nouns, even if you didn't know the name, but it's a proper noun.
My rule, if it's proper noun, always do a B, unless you know the name to have a V.
Wait, is it I-L-Y? So if Verena was an actual name, we would put a B.
You would put a V because it has a vowel after it, after the beta.
So it'd be a B because there's a vowel after it?
No, it just happens that it's the case.
We know that word to be Verena.
That's why I'm saying, we're going to say this again. So for non-proper noun, you apply the rule. Boy,
Capitalized.
so boy is a noun. George is a proper noun. Okay?
So nouns are just a person, place, or thing?
Yes.
Yeah, but proper nouns are like important.
The name of the thing. So state is a noun, but Oregon is a proper noun. Okay?
I didn't even know that's a noun.
I thought that I've been using
Days
nouns wrong.
is a noun, but like Friday, Monday, whatever.
Yes, is proper noun.
Why am I just
I
learning
still-
this? I just
Guys, I'm actually teaching you English and Coptic, so congrats.
adjectives are.
We're not going to talk about this is beyond Coptic.
Okay, so if it's a proper noun, put a B unless you know the name to be.
Yes, and in all honesty, if you put a B for everyone, even if you say Berina, I'm going to count it correctly for you because I do not want to. Headache. Yeah, it's a headache. So I would just go with the rule if like it's a proper noun, always put a B, but know that there are exceptions.
Okay.
Why? No one knows. Okay?
Because you said it's
Then Yota has a Sima before it, which is not a vowel. Lola, not a vowel, so it keep an I. So.
I-L-Y.
And then this is Lola and L.
Yeah,
This is
why? Because it has
yes.
Smarties.
Oh, and then this is Sima is an S. So
It's so
Bacillus.
tempting to write a C.
What?
It's so tempting to write
Yes, that's why I said this a lot. Sima, always an S. If you find yourself putting a C, you all missed point on that. Some people did this in the worksheet.
And then I went back and fixed it.
Yes, so this is why you have to fix it. Okay? So Bacillus. Okay? And this is Bacillus that wrote the Bacillus liturgy. Okay? Good. Now, one more crazy exception. Let's try to think, this is not a proper noun, but let's try to apply the non-proper noun rule to it. First one is alpha, right? So we put an A. This beta has what after it? Another beta. So this is not a vowel, right? So you would book this as a B,
But then you put a dash.
and then this would be a V. No, dash is only for vowels. Okay? So then this other beta has an alpha after it, which is a vowel. So it make a V sound and then A. Abva. However, do we say abva?
No.
You say Ava.
It's an exception. This word is just ava.
Wait, don't
No,
we say
then we just say
Ava?
No, we just say oh.
The correct word is ava.
We say
Abba, Abba is wrong.
We say Ava and then.
I know.
Oh, but if we were to
Abba is wrong, and abva is wrong. It's ava. We're gonna recap the rule for beta, and then the next letter is actually very easy. So this is like the next letter we're gonna learn is very easy. Okay. So beta, you always check. It's a proper noun. If it's a proper noun, blindly put a B.
Also, don't even ask the other questions.
Yes. If you know it's not a proper noun, then you need to think: is it followed by a vowel or no? If it's followed by a vowel, it's a V. Not followed by a vowel, regular B.
Or if it's followed by a consonant.
With all of that rules, the exception is ava, which is it looks like this and it's AVA.
You said it's a B if it's followed by nothing or a consonant.
Yes, which is not followed by a vowel.
Okay. So anytime it's not followed by a vowel, it's a B.
Yes. Non-proper noun, check if it's followed by a vowel, then it's a V, otherwise it's always a B. Proper noun, always a B, unless you know this is not to be the case for a word specifically, like for a proper noun specifically, and ava is the only exception I know of, that's just ava, just like that. No one knows why, it's just like that. Okay, so the next letter we're going to learn is delta, and this one could either be D, like do or whatever, or the TH that's in this, where you got to stick your tongue out a little bit when you're saying it, this. Okay? Those are your two options. So usually the way to denote the TH that makes the Z sound versus think, you put like a line underneath, like this. But I don't expect you to do this for the thing. You could always put TH like this. I would know you mean the Z one, even though it could be the TH as in think.
You have to put a line underneath it.
You would have to put a line in order to distinguish them. If you don't do that, I'm going to give you full credit. I will assume you know what you mean. When is it a D and when is it TH as in this? Okay, this becomes a question. So let's look at the first sound. This is another proper noun one, but this one, it's only proper noun. If it's proper noun, it's a D. No proper noun, always TH as in this. Okay? So proper noun, always D. You will never see it as a TH sound in this in a proper noun. And you will never see it in a non-proper noun word as a D. Okay?
Wait, but that one. Okay.
So, it's still part of the proper noun, right?
Oh,
D.
it's part of the proper noun.
Yes, the whole word is a proper noun.
It's the beginning letter.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Anytime you see a delta in a proper noun,
Oh.
all of them are D's. Let's look at this first one. This one is a name of a person, right? So, delta makes a D sound.
Because it's proper noun.
Proper noun. Alpha is A.
V.
This has an epsilon after, so it becomes a V, right? Because the epsilon is preceded by alpha, it's a V. Then this, you would say
Wait,
I or Y, okay? But there's a certain, this is like kind of pushing it.
Epsilon's a vowel?
Yeah.
Epsilon is a vowel, however,
Oh, yeah.
in this case, is the epsilon coming as a vowel?
No,
Remember, it's only by itself.
Oh, you have to think about
And this is why, remember I told you the omicron and epsilon, I treat it as its own vowel too. So it makes an OU sound. And then otherwise, if it's a vowel I, it's an I. So here, this is not coming as a vowel. This is became a V.
Oh, so we kind of think about it in English
what
too.
it becomes.
So, yes, in this case, this is not a vowel epsilon.
It's a V.
It's the actual V sound. So
you
in
look
this
at
case,
that, you look at what it becomes.
yes, that's another way to think about. So this one, and this is the only case. If the epsilon gets a V sound, then it's not a vowel in that case. Okay, it's only a vowel when it's an I. Or if it's part of the O and epsilon together, which makes an OU another vowel. But it as a V, of course, is not a vowel. So in this case, tricky one. This is not a vowel, so this would actually keep an I sound. This is why I love this word, because it's a good trick. And finally, another delta for a D. Remember, all of them are Z. This would be not David. Remember, the iota makes like a little bit of an E sound in Coptic. So David. Now, of course, David, you know the meaning. It's David, right? This is one of the stuff you'll be tested on. Next one, this word. So here, this is not a proper noun. This would be what? TH as in this. And then this is AU, remember? Omega. Ru is an R. O-N. So Zoron. Zoron.
But that's
Zoron.
more like a Z.
Yeah, Zoron, like this. It's TH as in this, so Zoron. Zoron.
It's, I don't know,
Just treat it as, how do you pronounce this? Say this.
This.
Yes, so you'll say Zoron. Zoron means gift.
Is that gonna test?
Yes.
I got you a Doron.
And David is David. But anyway, delta is like the easiest multi-pronunciation letter to ever learn. Proper noun, blindly put a D. Not a proper noun, blindly put TH as in this.
Done.
Boom. There is no exception, no nothing. So with that, I am done. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.